What's up, you guys? Today, I just got back from seeing The Woman in the Yard. What is that? What the heck is that?
Today's the day.
This is so dumb. But this is one of the probably cringiest intros I made.
No, this is my debut.
So guys, today we just saw. I'm standing right now because I don't. We're gonna reposition this once we get to the video, but we just saw Woman in the Yard yesterday. We're gonna review it today. I'm wearing the Blumfest shirt that we got in New York.
This is where we first learned about this movie.
Right, and I'm not gonna lie, I did gain a little weight over the winter. This shirt I got in fall, and I got the little pudgy.
And these are all the movies that were announced, and she's right there.
Yeah, The Woman in the Yard. This is our fabulous actress, Isabel. She is joining us. If you didn't know, she's my girlfriend. She's in all the other videos that I usually make when I go places. But today, I figured why not do the review, even though this movie is definitely a lot. But we'll get into that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Also, I do have a German Shepherd Husky, so there's a lot of dog hair on this shirt. I ain't even gonna lie. Of course, you guys know the drill. We're gonna do non-spoilers first, then we're gonna get into spoilers. This movie's just a lot, and before we get into this movie, the subject matter is very, dark. I guess it's a lot. So, I know we were joking around with, the whole, intro and stuff. This movie's not funny at all. For being, a Blumhouse movie, you would think there would be a lot, of humor in there. That's what I went into, thinking, all right, it's a Blumhouse movie. Usually there's a lot of stupid jokes within there, like Megan. It says producers of Megan, so that's what I was thinking of. This movie's very dark.
It has to do with, a lot of, PTSD.
Yeah,
types of,
a lot of,
trauma.
there's, a family loss in here. I guess we'll just do a non-spoiler review. Might as well. But there's a lot of, family trauma, obviously. This girl wakes up and with the family in this house, and she has, an injury from a car accident, and they're pretty much just kind of dealing with the fact that they're, the father, I guess, in the family isn't with them anymore. That's really where it comes down to, is a lot of the family trauma within this movie. And then there's obviously this woman in the yard. They don't know why she's there. They're kind of just figuring it out and stuff. And we actually got to see the trailer of this before everyone else, back in October.
Because of Comic-Con's
because of the Blumfest at Comic-Con. So that was really fun, and we just thought it was going to be, again, a stupid movie. The reviews on it all are pretty bad. A lot of people didn't enjoy this film. So again, I just was all right, maybe it's Night Swim or something like that. Cheesy, stupid fun. A girl in the yard, probably
when we first got, introduced to, this preview and everything, the first look at the movie itself looked really dumb. It was just a woman in the yard.
Yeah, and then just going today's the day. That's it.
It just looked really out of place.
It was dumb.
There's absolutely no context.
We basically follow this family dealing with this woman in the yard, and it's very centered just around this one house, and there's only 4 characters within it: the woman, the son, the daughter, and the mom. That's it. And then the dad's in it a few times. That's all that's in this film, and it's only an hour and a half, I think. So
yeah.
It's a very short movie, and it jumps right into it. I will say that. I will say I really enjoyed the visual style that the director brings to this, which is weird because the director of this movie is the same director as Black Adam and Jungle Cruise, which I found really weird. He also made the Orphan movie, which we were actually just talking about not too long ago.
Oh, really? He made The Orphan?
Yeah, he made The Orphan, which I haven't seen personally, which I don't think you've seen, right?
Yeah, no, I know.
So we'll probably watch that, but it's very, I think, more artistic than most Blumhouse movies, where most Blumhouse movies are very cheap. You can tell that even Five Nights at Freddy's, or even Megan, they're just very standard when it comes to its cinematography. Cinematography in this was very good, and I think one of the best parts.
Oh, yeah.
The visual effects with the woman in the yard with the shadow, very similar to Dr. Felicia.
Yeah,
and
we kind of said that.
Yeah, watching the movie, I was this is kind of like Dr. Felicia and Princess and the Frog. Like she has like a bunch of shadows and stuff. That was really fun and cool.
The plot, the only like really bad thing I can really say about this movie is that the plot isn't very together.
Yeah,
like, it's really all over the place.
The plot, I think that's also one of the biggest triggering moments within the film and why people don't like it. Because again, this movie deals with a lot of sensitive matter, and the fact that this movie is a PG-13 movie is wild to me. Because like again, there's no really like bloody sequences, there's no gore, but
there is a scene where she is unwrapping her wound and like they directly pan over to like her stitches and like her.
Well, that's spoilers. I mean, there is one scene that you said that has gore, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a 10-piece hot wing at Cinemark, and man, I was blowing that bathroom up. That bathroom, do not go in there. After I eat 10-piece wings, because I was gone for at least like 10-15 minutes. Luckily, it was only during like the opening act of the movie where that gory scene was.
But the whole scene was like, the whole cinema was like trying to like holler and stuff, but it really wasn't that deep. It was just more of like a close-up.
Yeah. The plot, especially towards the ending, kind of has a lot of loose ends, and there is a lot with the ending where you don't really know how it ends. There's definitely like multiple reasons that you can think of how it ended, kind of like an Inception type of ending where you don't know if that's the real ending or not. That's really all I have to say for non-spoilers. The acting's great. I definitely thought, I think his name's Peyton Jackson. I'm not quite sure on that. But the son in this movie, I thought was the best part of the movie. I thought he brought a lot to the movie. I guess from now we're going to get into our spoiler review. So warning guys, spoilers here on out. And if you want, of course, there's going to be timestamps in the description if you want to skip forward to our overall thoughts. Alright, so I guess we'll go from the start of the movie. It starts off with the mom, watching the video of course, the father who died in this car accident on a phone, and she's just kind of watching him on repeat, right? Then she basically is getting up out of bed and just asks for strength. She says, give me strength, give me strength. And we're kind of just assuming that it's strength to get out of bed every morning because she's injured, and carry on basically as like the father figure and mother figure of the household now, like the main parental figure. The house is falling apart. This house was meant to be a fixer-upper, which they did not fix up. There's no power, no heat, no phone abilities or service or anything.
Now, what's important to keep in mind is that in the video, he's actually directly asking her, because he's like talking to her and he's saying like, what's your favorite flower, and like about like she responds like irises and everything. So this fixer-upper house wasn't in their favor. It wasn't in her favor, at least. He
it was more like him to fix up for her to have, which he didn't get to do in time.
Which is around irises, so it really isn't like her main goal. She really doesn't want to be here. Which
we find out more on, of course, later on in the movie, and they have the whole dinner scene, which we'll get to. And then all of a sudden we just see this woman in the yard, just sitting there in a black veil, kind of like a funeral outfit, I felt like. That's what I kind of got the vibes of.
And she's sitting out, like, where, like, the mailbox is, and, like, the other side of the road.
Across the street, just sitting there, facing the window, facing them. Which they all just were very nonchalant about. Personally, I would be like, if I'm in number one, in the middle of the woods with no one around me, or not even the woods, like, in the country.
They farm.
They're in the farm. They're in, like, a farmland. Yeah, they have chickens, like, in the middle of nowhere. Just sitting there, and they just go like, oh, she must be just waiting for a bus, or like is confused from
like the son out of nowhere is like, mom, there's a woman in the yard.
Like they're
like,
fine.
Just, like nothing. Like it's so weird.
Like if I saw that just randomly, number one, I would clearly see a woman from way down, because this is all flat land. There's no hills, nothing. Like it's flat land, like plains. I would be seeing this woman go through the street with a chair, sitting down, and then sit in front of my house. If that's the case, I still would think is weird, but I would be like,
at least you know how she got there.
I would understand that, okay, this is a normal woman who just got, this is a person, entity that just all of a sudden sat there. And we see that the mom goes to talk to her, and it's basically, the mom's like, hey, what are you doing here? She says, today's the day. Like, you asked me to come here, stuff like that. Well, no, at first she says, how did I get here? And stuff like that. And then she says that stuff.
Yeah.
Which,
as we know later in the movie why she says that in the first
which
place.
We will get to, which is, again, very messy with the plot. And she goes inside, lies to the kid saying she's just a crazy woman off her medication. And the son obviously clearly knows this isn't the case, but the daughter believes it. So they're all fine. They're in the living room or whatever. The son is just staring at her, very much against this woman, which as anyone would be. And then we kind of see this symbolism with this letter R. The daughter starts writing the letter R backwards. And obviously our main character, the mom's name's Ramona. So I guess the letter R is for her. And the mom all of a sudden then flips out at the son and the daughter. The son for bouncing the ball. She's also having visions and stuff. The daughter for writing the letter R backwards. And then we get a scene where she carries the daughter and holds her, apologizes, and then grabs the knife and goes to, like, I guess, like, cut her, I want to say. That it's not the daughter.
She cuts a pillow.
It's a pillow.
Instead.
And all of a sudden the daughter and the son are in the kitchen. There's like, it's very weird. It's like, we don't know if the entity's doing this at this point. That's what I was guessing is.
Yeah.
But at the end of the film, I realized like it's kind of all in her head. We don't know.
So then after all that happens and everything's like sorted out, like at least some kind of like thought, we see that the son is really getting over his mom's antics, and he's sitting there just watching her. And then every time he gets distracted, we can see that the woman in the yard gets like a little bit closer.
Right, yeah.
And,
like just teleports out of nowhere.
Yeah. So it's obviously messing with the mom. And mind you, this whole time, the house does not have power. So they're getting in arguments about, okay, can we call the cops? Okay, can we call somebody? No, because all their phones don't have power. Nothing is connected.
Because none of the phones could charge or anything. Because
Right.
this takes place in modern day. There's like no landlines.
She has an iPhone at one point. Oh no, the kid actually gets fed up. And he runs to the Jeep himself.
Yeah.
To see if he can do something. He tries to turn on the car.
Which then we see the woman gets out of the chair.
Yeah.
And kind of circles around him.
He's flipping out. He's starting to ask about the dog.
Yeah.
He's asking his mom what's going on. Why are you not letting me know? She gets fed up. She throws something at him.
Mm-hmm.
Finally makes him think like, okay, like she's useless. She can't help me. I gotta figure this out myself. So then, I forgot how, but he traps her. Like
he locks her in her room.
Yes, several rooms so that she can't get out of the house.
Yes, so she locks her.
He goes upstairs to grab his dad's old gun, and then goes outside to like negotiate with the woman in the yard, and he's just talking to her and saying like who are you? Like get off my property, da 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 da. And she sees right through him. At this point, she doesn't have her veil on, right?
No, she does. She gets up and then she takes off her mask and it's just a normal woman. Which, I mean, I was fine with. And at first I was like, dang, I really wanted them to do like something with the woman in the yard. Which they do. They do a lot of. It was just more like, I was like, oh, it's just a woman. Like, at first, like, I was like, okay, this is going to be the mom. It's just the mom's face. That's what I thought was going to happen. She says, like, ask your mom what really happened that night when your father died. And that's when really this movie takes a drastic turn in the plot. That from like that just spooky horror fun to like this really dark messed up thing. Because then that's when we find out he goes upstairs, he's telling the daughter to go, and that's when we find out what really happened. Obviously, that's when we were talking about the dinner scene. It flashes back to when they first moved from the city to here. Ramona had to lose her job. The mom had to lose her job to move into this house. And she's unhappy. She feels unfulfilled. And basically, things are rocky in their marriage. And she goes and drives the car, which she lied about. She said that he drove the car and that it was rainy and there was a car accident.
They're both in the car at the time. They're driving home from a dinner where they're talking and everything.
And then we get the first vision. She sees the first vision of the woman in the yard. And she gets distracted and runs into a car. She was very unhappy with her life and with her marriage. So she started seeing this woman in the yard in her car that night, which is kind of when I started realizing the woman is more of a psychological thing in her head compared to everything else, like compared to like an actual entity.
Yeah, we started making theories at this point, trying to figure out, because again, the plot was not
it's
together.
very messy, and it gets even messier because then the woman all of a sudden, the daughter is being taken away. They all of a sudden realize that they're using shadows, so they try to get into like dark rooms. And this is really cool. It's like a Conjuring type of thing. Where, like,
it's like a whole trippy
thing where like she's like going through the rooms like with her shadows, and then it goes to like the attic. And once they get into the attic, that's where all hell breaks loose for me. Like it's just like wild scenes. We see all of a sudden the mom is being taken over as like a shadow in like the shadow
so there's
realm.
Two points of views, I guess. They go into this point of view where it's the mom and where she sees herself, the shadow woman, going for her kids. And the shadow woman, when she's in her monstrous state, one side of her face is like deformed and the other side is normal.
Did you make a review about Snow White?
And she has like these black fingers.
Yeah, they're
like she's a black woman, but like I'm talking like massive, just charcoal black hands, like with long nails, like Freddy Krueger almost.
Yeah.
We see the son just watching the woman kind of take the daughter and just disappear. And she says, "I'm not gonna hurt you." They disappear. And then that's when the son gets up. The mom's all of a sudden out of the shadow realm, and they're freaking out. They follow this light because she had the flashlight, the daughter, and it said, "Mom, help, help." And like they go down, and the mom goes through this tunnel. Mm-hmm. This is where things get very trippy and weird. She goes through this tunnel in the closet and out into like this reality where it was the video that she was watching in the beginning. And she's like talking to the husband, same thing that's in the video. She's like realizing, wait, you're dead. You're not alive. That's when he like puts the bag on her head. Like this weird bag, and like she's trying to like get out of it, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm drowning." She wakes up, and we're in the perspective of the woman in the yard when Ramona comes out of the house. And so I'm like, okay, we're seeing from the woman's side. And then all of a sudden, it's Ramona under there. So I was
for like 2 seconds.
For a little bit. Because that's when I was like, because I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, that's just her. And I was like, I swear that's her. And then I was like, wait, it wasn't her. Because then that's when she goes, how did I get here? So that's why the woman said that in the beginning. And then all of a sudden goes, today's the day. So it like switches between that. She's trying to pull down the veil, but she can't. And she's like, I'm drowning. Which I'm going to assume is she's just getting deeper and deeper into like this depression.
And then we see the other type of view, which is what the little girl sees, and it's not the woman in the yard that was reaching towards her. It was her mother.
Yeah, it was
her
Ramona.
mother. It was Ramona saying, "I'm not gonna hurt you."
I'm not gonna hurt
you. She looks like psychotic.
Yeah, she was like very insane, and kind of like when she wrote the letter R backwards. She was like just insane, kind of like weird, like just like an angry person, but like she was coming after her daughter. It's very just dark and weird. Nothing's really clear on what's going on. And then we see she talks with the woman, I think, with the gun, and she's like, I'm gonna pull the trigger, and she's like, I'm sure you will. And then she tells the kids to go away.
Go to the neighbor's house.
No, not yet. She says go outside of the room, and she talks to them, talks to the woman. And now at this point, we get all clarification of kind of why the woman's there, because we still don't know why the woman's there. But within the whole film, she's basically saying, give me strength, like we said. Give me strength to kind of end it today. So not keep living, if you are understanding what I'm saying. So that was a very dark twist. She was asking like, hey, but what about my kids? Like, what about them? Someone's got to be there for them. And she's like, you've been in your room for weeks now, not doing anything. That's why there's so many bills. That's why there's no gas, heat, because she's not providing anything. This is where I know a lot of people were very conflicted with the film. The woman was showing candlelights of the kids, of them as kids and what they're going to do in the future, basically going like, hey, your daughter's going to be a doctor, your son's going to be in college and stuff like that, and basically saying they're going to be better with or without you. And so that I know a lot of people were very upset with, basically going like, that's not the right message to be saying to a lot of people, because a lot of people are seeing this movie. We were in it and it was a packed house, so I know like a lot, it's a lot to take in, but understanding that the woman isn't actually like a demon or anything, it's more of Ramona, like, with this depression. It's symbolizing basically an emotion of this depression. She's saying it to herself like, hey, my kids are better off without me, which a person in that state of mind would say. It's, again, very, very dark, very touchy. Now saying like, all right, today's the day. She tells the kids to go to the neighbor's house. They go off, they're scared, and she's basically fighting the woman to like end it all or not, which is just very
physically, like, this is the most graphic part of the movie.
It's disturbing. It's very like
because
touchy.
She's holding the weapon against her.
She's
and,
holding
making her.
She's holding it, and she's also not wanting to do it, but the woman's making her do it, which is again symbolizing, hey, this is her depression, like forcing her to do this. And so like it's like kind of back and forth. No one knows what they're doing. And then it kind of just goes silent. It goes outside the shed. And at this point, I'm very thankful they don't show anything, but I thought we were going to hear like a gunshot. I really, at that point, I was like, this is wild. If this is how this movie ends, it's going to be a gunshot, and that's the end. I was fully prepared for that. And if that was the case, I think I would have been very upset with this film. I think I would have been more on the side of where I understand why people are upset, which you can't. This movie is definitely not a movie where you can say I recommend this to you, because it's just not that type of movie. It's a movie that if you need to watch and say for yourself, like if you don't like it, I completely understand why you don't like it. Okay, so then she walks out. Her kids are there. So no gunshot, nothing. It's just silence. And then all of a sudden the power's on. We see a sign in front of the house that wasn't there, because that was also another big thing saying like, hey, what are we going to name the house? And there was no sign. And it said like Iris Haven, right? And we didn't know what that meant. And then there was power on. The dog all of a sudden comes out of nowhere. And there's power, water, everything. And then it pans to the picture of the woman in the yard, and it says Ramona on it, because she's obviously a painter, stuff like that. But the R's backwards, which is obviously, my guess, symbolizing that the woman is Ramona, I think. But that's why she has like two personalities, like the depressed side. And then also she says, like, the kids say like, oh, when the woman comes back, she says, I'll be ready to fight it again. I know I'm prepared this time, which is basically saying she defeated depression. Now, I know that there was people that saw this ending differently. I saw it where she survived. The kids are there, power's on, and she's ready to fight the depression if it comes back to her. That feeling to end it all again. Now I know a lot of people saw this as, all right, the kids are there. It's her happy ending. She did do it. And that's why it's the names there, Iris Haven, the dog's there, there's power, because now this is her dream house. It's all of a sudden fixed up. And it goes to the painting to show like the R's backwards, that the depression did win. Which I personally do not agree with. I don't think that's the true ending. I want to say that she survived. I think that that's what I saw. That's what I believe you saw, right?
Yeah. I just think like the woman in the yard is obviously her. Like, not physically, but it's like another side of like her brain. It's just, what's weird is that I want to believe that it's like an emotion, but the fact that the kids can see the physical woman in the yard means that either
it's a plot hole.
They either see like not the physical woman there, but they either see that like their mom changing. Like, that's like if I woke up one day and my mom was like a whole different person.
I don't know. Again, also, was the woman in the yard ever actually the woman, Ramona ever the woman in the yard? No one knows. It's all very confusing. So that I kind of like that ending because it is kind of artistic. It leaves you to that open-mindedness.
I also
But
wouldn't even consider her like a horror like icon. She's more of like a hero in a way.
yeah, because she kind of saves.
She like gives her that reality check to, okay, you're either gonna do it or you're gonna get up and actually make a difference again.
But that's only if we look at the ending as she survived, because then it would be like, hey, the woman in the yard finally went like, hey, you gotta push yourself to do it. Like, it's kind of like a Christmas Carol in a way, like Scrooge, but we don't know. Again, it's all open in the air. All right, so here are our overall thoughts. I'm gonna put Izzy's here, and then I'm gonna put mine here. My overall score is a 60 out of 100. You?
59 out of 100.
Yeah. So what did you like about it most?
Well, this is yours.
I know. For me, I thought the plot was, it was definitely messy, but I really liked the darkness, I guess, the bold risks that this movie was willing to take. That the acting was good. I mean, there's no soundtrack really, and I think that the intro was kind of a little slow, and that ending wasn't strong enough that I would like to say. I just feel like there's something a little missing here. Maybe it's that it is such a dark matter that it's like not really like a standalone horror movie, but I feel like there's a lot of horror movies that have this dark thing with it. It's just like, it felt like a cheesy movie with a dark movie complex to it that like clashed together for me. But I don't know, I ended up, I don't want to say enjoying it, but appreciating the movie itself.
My overall was really like a 59 out of 100. Plot was all over the place, but it kind of gathered itself together more at the end. Visuals were really cool, so I gave it like a 7. Acting also, like the kids really tied it together, so that was a 7. Soundtrack, there wasn't really anything like crazy about it, so it was like a 4. Enjoyment, I gave it a 6 because it was a bit confusing, but it was really like deep, and it's something different from what Blumhouse does. Intro was a 5 because that was like the scene with the dad. And the ending was a 6 because it ended happier and it ended like better than expected. But yeah.
So that's our thoughts. I know this is definitely a movie that's very
controversial.
Hopefully this video isn't too long. Right now we're at 43 minutes making this, but hopefully I can shorten it. But I'm not gonna keep you guys too longer. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. Definitely very different from Blumhouse. When we first saw this trailer, we did not think it was going to be anything compared to what this was. Without further ado, if you liked it, make sure you like it. If you really like it, make sure you subscribe. If you want to see future videos like this, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see reviews with Isabel, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, she's locked in my dungeon. She's never coming out. She will never, ever see the light of day unless you say that you want her back.
Okay, I'm going to turn the woman of the yard.
Ever! This will be Izzy unless you ask her to come back.
I'm gonna haunt you.
She will be just non-existent unless you ask her to come back onto this channel.
I'll haunt you.
So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Dessert out. Peace.